Welcome back, everyone, to another Marvel Mondays video. I think this is the 5th one, and I'm having so much fun with this series. The last video did really well, and I'm actually excited to talk about this videos as well. And in this video, we're going to be talking about my favorite Marvel movies, or more specifically, MCU movies, because obviously I'm excluding Deadpool and X-Men and all those movies that are technically Marvel, but not MCU. I mean, there's not much else to say. Let's get started. Actually, one more thing. As I say in every video, I'm not responsible for your lack of knowledge. It's gonna be a little bit complicated, but that's pretty much it. Besides that, enjoy the video, everyone. Let me kill this guy, and then we can go for his bed here. Alright, so we're just gonna start off with my number 1 movie. I'm gonna talk about, I think, my top 5 in this video. Alright, so my number 1 movie, it's Infinity War. Now, if you're wondering why, let me explain it to you. I know a lot of people in this comment section are gonna agree with me when I say Infinity War is definitely the best movie out of the 23. And the reason being, I think that obviously like Avengers Endgame was a really great movie and stuff, and I'd say it's a close second. No one knew or expected what was going to happen in Infinity War. Now, let me explain. So, one of the most important parts or factors of making a good TV show or movie is shock factor. You know, just making the unknown, doing things people wouldn't expect, killing off main characters, stuff like that. That's one of the reasons why early Walking Dead was so good, and that's one of the reasons that there's so many good TV shows where the main characters die. Here's why, okay? For so many movies, the Avengers won over and over and over and over, right? And then there's this huge final battle, and you're like, okay, this is going to be super intense. At the end of the movie, the Avengers are going to win, and it'll be just a generic superhero movie, you know? But they lost. That's why it was such a good movie. The Avengers literally lost. No one expected it. That's why when people started getting snapped away, there was just silence there. There was no sad music or anything. It was because more than being sad about it, no one expected it. Everyone was surprised when a bunch of main characters died, like when Bucky died and Vision died, and a bunch of characters just started dying. I mean, it was sad, but the writing was so good because no one ever expected it. And that's why I have to say that Infinity War is my number 1 movie. That is just how it has to be. It was just so well written. It was basically perfectly written. I even love how they didn't show Thanos getting the first stone because they thought it would just be another war that Thanos would win, and they didn't want to, you know, add that in for no reason. But like overall, oh my god, Infinity War was just so good, unexpected, completely, you know, like just, you know, you don't expect them to all die. And overall, it was just a very well-made movie. After that, number 2, I would say Endgame. And the reason Endgame isn't number 1 is obviously I just said it was unexpected. But if Endgame wasn't written the exact way it was written, I wouldn't even put it in my top 3. I really loved how they went over time travel and how they explained the whole thing. I love the direction they took with it by creating different timelines in which they could branch off and make movies and TV shows like Loki. I absolutely love that idea. I thought it was very nice. I thought it was a good idea. I don't know. Marvel has a way of developing writing to defend their plot holes. So it's really cool when you think about it. Like, Marvel kind of creates their own their plot defenses without even trying, and I really love that because obviously every time travel movie ever is always gonna have plot holes. You can't avoid it, but I think Marvel did a really good job of kind of being smart about it and writing it well. The big problem I had with Endgame was that the entire movie, the entire marketing for the movie was revolved around Captain Marvel. Now, if you remember, if you're a big Marvel fan, you probably watched the trailers for Endgame before they came out. Every trailer revolved around Captain Marvel. It was revolved around Captain Marvel. The marketing was around Captain Marvel. It was always about Captain Marvel being this huge hero that came in and saved the day. And that is why I felt like Endgame wasn't number 1 movie. I feel like even if Captain Marvel was going to be in the movie, she should have been in the movie for more than 12 minutes, and instead she kind of just joined in whenever they needed saving, and that kind of frustrated me a little bit because they revolved the entire marketing of the movie around her, and then they only had her in the movie for like 12 minutes. I think it was 12 minutes of screen time or something like that, which is a bit frustrating. Like, if you're gonna market the entire movie about her, you should have at least put her in for more than 12 minutes, you know? But then again, it was a very good movie regardless. I don't think that Captain Marvel not being an important role takes from much of it. I think that the movie was still overall amazing. I just thought Infinity War was a little bit better. The final battle was just so good. It was probably the best battle I've ever seen, like ever. I think one of the most important things to talk about is how Endgame did an amazing job of coming full circle and kind of bringing the MCU to a close, or at least phase 3. There's so many parallels and Iron Man references, and I think one of the most important things was that Endgame was truly when Captain America and Iron Man proved each other wrong from the first movie. Another thing I will say is that people argue that Tony Stark should come back and like Black Widow got a bad death, and I actually disagree. I completely disagree. I feel like it would have been weird for Black Widow to have a complete funeral. I feel like her entire background was revolved around violence and being part of the Avengers family. So I feel like it's more important to keep in fact that I think her dying unexpectedly was a lot better than her getting a full funeral, and I think the way Tony was killed off was perfect as well, because honestly that was the perfect ending for him. They couldn't have done it better. And that's why I liked Endgame so much. Now let's talk about my third favorite movie, and this is going to be unexpected for a lot of people. I just won by doing virtually nothing the entire game. Okay. That last game, we kind of won it without doing anything, but you know what, we're just not going to talk about it. Anyways, we were talking about my third favorite Marvel movie, and I'm actually going to give that spot to Captain America Winter Soldier. Now, if you have seen that movie, my god, that was just... oh, that was a journey. That was truly a journey. I mean, anyone that is a sucker for good fight scenes and choreography and hand-to-hand combat, I mean, that movie was probably just, oh my god, it was so well written. Captain America 2 had by far the best hand-to-hand combat scenes in the entire MCU. It does not even come close. I think the only close second will be Civil War, for example. I think the only thing that comes close would be the Black Panther and Bucky scene in Civil War. But Captain America 2 just had the best choreography in the fight scenes, like, in the entire MCU, in my opinion, especially the hand-to-hand combat. The Bucky knife flip is the greatest fight scene in the entire MCU, hands down. You can't even argue it. It was so amazing and so good. It was so well written. I absolutely loved the entire movie. It was completely action-packed. There was just no breaks. You know, non-stop action. I think one of the things that made the movie so good is how confident Steve Rogers was in Winter Soldier rather than Captain America 1. Because I think you see in Captain America 1, at the end of Captain America 1, when he comes to New World 70 years later, he's completely confused as to what's going on. Then in Avengers 1, he's a little confused as to what's going on as well. But I think when you see the start of Captain America 2, you really realize how much he's grown as a person, and you can kind of see how he's got so much more confidence. I mean, that ship scene at the start of the movie was just so amazing. Like, oh my god. Amazing. I can't even lie that, oh my god, it was so good. I think my favorite scene from Captain America 2 has got to be the entire Bucky fight scene. I think that was just overall just so well written. I mean, they can't replicate that. It was just so good. I don't think any fight choreography in the MCU really is gonna come close to Captain America 2. Now, there is possibilities that in the future that there will be a lot of fight scenes that are really well choreographed. For example, Shang-Chi. I'm super excited for that. I'm super excited to see Shang-Chi. I think it's gonna be an absolutely amazing movie, but I just feel like Captain America 2's fight scenes cannot be replicated that well. And if they are, then it's gonna have to be with Bucky, and I don't know if they're gonna be able to do that since you know, that lineup isn't really a thing anymore. Winter Soldier is kind of gone. Anyways, moving on, we're gonna talk about number 4 now, my fourth favorite movie, and I'm gonna go with Doctor Strange. Now, I talked about my favorite Marvel characters, and I think the third episode of the series, and I said that my favorite character was Doctor Strange, and that probably surprised a lot of you because you probably thought watching this video that Doctor Strange was gonna be my favorite movie, but it's not. But it is my number 4. I don't think it's the best movie, but I would put it number 4. I think it was an absolutely amazing movie. I think Doctor Strange will always be the most underrated movie, honestly, because, oh my god, the mystical scenes, they were just so good. The mirror dimension and the different dimensions that were shown off, those were just so well made, and the CGI was just so amazing for those movies. I don't think anything comes close to that. I absolutely loved everything about Doctor Strange. I think the best part about that movie was the character arc that Strange actually got, and I think that's one of the reasons why the movie was just so good. Another reason why I like Doctor Strange so much is because it's set up for the future of the MCU really well. Unlike other movies, this one was really important in the future, especially with the Time Stone and introducing a lot of characters that are going to be a big play in the future movies. For example, we'll see some stuff going on with Mordo in Multiverse of Madness, so I'm super excited for that because they're not going to just obviously drop that entire arc of him being a bad guy in the end. And yeah, last but not least, number 5, I'm gonna give that spot to Thor Ragnarok. Now, let's be real, okay? The first 2 Thor movies, not great, okay? I think a lot of people completely hate on Thor, the first 2 Thor movies, and I do understand it. There's one thing to keep in mind, guys. There's one thing to keep in mind, okay? Thor 1 and 2 were not that bad, okay? People's expectations for Marvel movies are so much higher rather than normal superhero movies. So, I mean, relatively, I guess you could say that Thor wasn't as good as the other Marvel movies, and I completely agree with that. It wasn't. But Thor was still a good movie. It just relatively wasn't nearly as good as the other Marvel ones. And that's why a bunch of people thought that Thor 1 and 2 were not good, especially 2. But I would put Thor Ragnarok at number 5. I absolutely loved how funny that movie was. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I really liked the movie overall. I think that's when Thor was at his peak, and I just loved how he was so powerful. I also thought that Hela was one of my favorite villains in the entire MCU. She was very well written, and I really wish that Hela didn't die at the end of the movie, because I feel like there's so much more potential for her in the future of the MCU, and I would 100% want to see Hela back in the MCU in the future, because she was completely crazy. Like, oh my god, she was such a good villain. I don't know, it was just very well written. I kind of noticed that this entire video I've kind of been running around not doing much. I apologize for that. I keep losing my bed, so I've kind of just been not focused on the game. But you know, it's fine. It's not a huge deal. We're gonna win this game, and we should be able to wrap this video up pretty soon. But yeah, those are my top 5. If you guys want me to do a full tier list of my favorite movies, I can definitely do that. Just a full tier list of my favorite MCU movies. I think that might make for a really good video because I talked about my top 5. But I'm gonna be honest, there was a lot of S tier movies in the MCU, and I don't think I should go without talking about them. So yeah, what is this guy doing? What are you doing, man? This guy's gonna die, and he's gonna lose his bed right now. Come on. Oh my god, why is the other guy not breaking his bed? What are you doing? Are you dumb? Oh my god, okay. Okay, there we go. His bed is broken. But anyways, guys, that is pretty much it. Those were my top 5 movies in the MCU. I really enjoyed making this video. I enjoyed talking about them. If you guys want to see me make a tier list of my favorite MCU movies, or I guess just all of them, just let me know in the comments below. I know I didn't do much in this video, but it was more of a commentary video. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and have a nice day, everyone. Peace out.